Thank you for joining us at Redecon Online Learning. I still remain some people jump to touch PK, the governor of this program, by the special grace of God. And today I want to discuss some of the things you will be expecting in your forthcoming O-level examinations. So we'll be taking English language. There's this notion that people have concerning this subject called English language, especially we Nigerians from Africa, West Africans. So we'll be like, there's no need troubling yourself to understand English language, and it's very, very hard. No matter how hard you read it, no matter how hard you study it, that you can't excel at it. Or some students, when I was in secondary school, they'll be like, you don't study English language, you don't read English language, you don't read maths, you don't read English language. How possible is that? Yeah, but I have a testimony for you. I entered my WAEC hall and my NECO hall. I made B2 in English language in my work. Then in my NECO, I made an A. And it's very, very simple. English is the simplest subject among all the 9 subjects you'll be offering in your work and NECO or GCE. Why? This is because English is prescribed. English language has been prescribed for you. Even before you enter the exam hall, you know the things that you'll be expecting. You know the things you'll be seeing in the exam hall. Did you get? So that makes it more easier. Unlike subjects like chemistry, physics, biology, which you don't even have an idea of the things that come out. So you just read from SS1 work to SS3. Do you get? So, but English is prescribed. You know the things that don't come out. Even though you don't know, I'm going to tell you now so that you don't make the mistakes that people have made. You can't afford to fail English language. And guess what? You can't afford to get anything less than an A. So let's go there. All right. So I'm gonna simplify everything I'm going to tell you about this. Now the essence of English language is to set a test. To examine the basic skills of communicating in English. You are not studying English language for crying out loud. Maybe as a university student or a person who is doing it in tertiary institution. No, just the basics, the fundamentals. If you can communicate efficiently and effectively in English language. All right. So they are testing your ability to um, communicate effectively in English using the mediums of speech, and writing, So the examination will test the receptive and productive abilities of candidates. These abilities will be demonstrated in the following forms: forms of reading, in forms of comprehension, writing, vocabulary, lexics and structure, in form of listening comprehension and recognition of different aspects of spoken English. That's when we talk about oral English. People will be like, oh, this demon has come again. No, oral English is very simple. It was one of my most favorite. And I'm going to share secrets on how to pass oral English without any single stress, without any single difficulty. You can do this, come on. So the end objective of this examination, of this syllable that I'm giving to you now, is to measure the extent to which the aims of the teaching syllabuses of member countries that have been realized in candidates' secondary school career. The examination sets to examine students' ability to use correct English, write about incidents in English that are appropriate to specific audiences and situations, organize materials in paragraphs that are chronologically, spatially, and logically coherent, control sentence structures accurately, exhibit variety in the use of sentence patterns, comply with the rules of grammar, spell and punctuate correctly, comprehend written and spoken English, recognize implied meaning, tones, and attitudes, use an acceptable pronunciation that can be comprehended by others, recognize the physical characteristics of English sounds and the letters that represent them, pick out and summarize relevant information from set passages. So what does this examination look like, your O level? Whether it is WAEC, NECO, or JAMB, they make use of the same anything you probably see in WAEC. That's what you see in NECO, that's what you see in GCE. And it's not far from what you expect in your JAMB. Do you understand? So if you get the basic knowledge of the things I'm giving you now, you'll be able to excel massively in all these examinations without any stress. So while WAEC and NECO and your GCE, there will be 3 papers, and paper 1 will consist of 80 multiple choice questions, all of which should be answered within 1 hour for 40 marks. So paper 1 will consist of 80 multiple choice questions, all of which should be answered within 1 hour for 40 marks. Paper 2 will consist of 5 essay topics, and a passage, each to test candidates comprehension and summary skills. Remember, 5 essay topics to choose one, then a comprehension passage and a summary passage to test your ability to comprehend written English. That's interesting. So Candidates will be expected to write an essay on one of the topics and answer all the questions on the comprehension and summary passages. The paper will last 2 hours, and this paper carries 100 marks. 50 marks for your essay, that's the one essay that you're going to write, then 20 marks for your comprehension, and 30 marks for your summary. So 50 plus 20 plus 30 is going to give you 100 marks, right? All right. So paper 3 will consist of 60 multiple choice items on types of oral, depending on where you're watching it from. If you're watching from Nigeria and Liberia, you're going to take test of orals, and it's going to be 60 questions. 60 questions. And those in Gambia and the Sierra Leone, you're going to take a listening comprehension test. And all the questions should be answered in 45 minutes for 30 marks. So let me go into details. So let's talk about paper 1. Now, paper 1 just like your normal OBJ. So I said 80 questions, right? 80 questions. So we have 40 lexical and 40 structural questions. So it's basically lexis and structure. So we have 40 lexis and 40 structure. So, and each question have options A to D. We have options A to D. Hope you're taking notes. Alright, so let's talk about the lexis aspect. So in addition to items, testing knowledge of the vocabulary of everyday usage, that is about home, social relationships, and common core school subjects. Questions should be set to test candidates' ability in the use of the general vocabulary associated with the following field of human activities: building and building construction, agriculture, fishing, stock exchange, health, environment, culture, institutional ceremonies, law and order, motor vehicles, others. That's what you call your registers, right? The set of words that are used in a particular field. Alright, so we have idioms. We are going to have questions on idioms and idiomatic expression. So you are still going to have questions on sequence of sentence, matching of pronouns with their antecedents, correct use of preposition, etc. And you can see question like choose the option that best completes the sentence, or choose an option that give the best interpretation to this particular. And that one is talking about either figurative expression or idiomatic expression. So I think you've seen that. And by now you should have your past question. You should have your past. If you get your past question, you see all these things that I'm telling you in details. That is how they set their question. Day after day. That was why I told you that English language is a prescribed examination. So you would have no any you won't have any excuse to fail. No excuse. No excuse. So you have the figurative usage. So that's for your legs. Now, when we go to structure, it will test the patterns of changes in word forms, which indicates number, tense, degree, etc. A pattern in which different categories of words regularly combine to form groups, and these groups in turn combine to form sentences. The use of structural words, example, conjunction, determiners, preposition, etc. Use of these particular concepts in sentences, they will test you. So let's talk about the literature aspect. They can give you questions from grammar, questions on prose, and questions on poetry. Yes, but this is not literature per se, but they can, especially in JAMB, they will get questions from this aspect. So let's talk about paper 2. It's divided into section A, which is your essay writing. Remember, they'll give you 5 essays to write, or one of them, which is it could be letter writing, it could be informal or formal, it could be a speech, it could be a article for publication, it could be a descriptive essay, an expository essay, or a narrative essay. So you got to master all these. It can be argumentative as well. So you have to master all this before entering the examination hall. Don't ever enter the examination hall without the knowledge of all this. That is why you got to start preparing in time before the examination. Start before time. You have prepared but that's one. That consciousness, that awareness of how this examination is going to be should have dawned on you when you started senior secondary school. Remember this, we were so desperate, we were so inquisitive, we were so curious. That's not our teachers question, how will this be, how that be? We were so desperate to see how this will be. And when we pushed, we read, and when we reached SS3, it was no longer difficult thing for us. We were able to do it because essay writing was just like a normal thing to me, because I almost practice essay every day. I practice essay every day. Point came in my studies, I was doing summary every day. I can answer 4 summary years. Yeah, and I will give my teacher, she would assess them and give me some corrections. So it made me better. As we all know, practice makes perfect. Whatever you practice, you can't forget it in a hurry. So, and this will give you more confidence to write this particular examination we're talking about with your head. Many students now, they settle for less because they think that they can't. And why do they think that they can't do it on their own? Because they want to build the confidence. And how do you build confidence? You build confidence by studying. So all of us say study to show that you're approved. So for you to be approved, you need to study. For you to show yourself as someone who has the capacity to enter an exam hall with your self-esteem, with your skills, and with your composure, and write this examination without any rubbish drafting into another person's work. Or so you're gonna be writing these essays, just one. You can actually pick that writing depending on the one you can write very well. So second is the comprehension. Comprehension, you just have to master the information the passage is trying to pass to you. Just master the information the passage is trying to pass to you, and master grammatical names and their functions. Then you ask questions on synonyms, the words that can probably replace the underlined words in the passage. Maybe you have seen something like this before, so it should not be sounding strange. Alright, so if you've mastered synonyms, mastered grammatical names, you're happy to go. You've mastered the message that every passage has a message it is passing. You have to master every bit of it. Alright, so that's that for comprehension. Then we have the summary. Summary is just like a bonus added to you. You can answer this summary and get into a full set. It's very possible. We have two methods of answering summary questions, a direct and indirect method. So in a subsequent classes, I'll be explaining this in depth. So follow us, like our videos and share if you find them interesting. So it's other people who need this and also benefit. Alright, so your paper 3, which is your oral English. Yeah, in Nigeria, so you're doing oral English. Oral English is the simplest among all. In this oral English, you have to master the 44 phonics, that's the speech sounds. You need to master them. From the 20 vowels, the 12 monophthongs and the 8 diphthongs, and the 24 consonants. You've got to master. Then you need to have them in your brain. Like seriously. It's very simple. Know their sounds. Know their sounds. Know their sounds. Know their sounds. Practice it. Bring a book. Write down the sounds. Focus on it. You should that. Most of us are very lazy. So bring a book, practice it until it sings. Practice makes perfect, as I've said. So there they'll be testing you for some 15 vowels, 15 tests for vowels. Okay. Then 15 tests for consonants, 15 tests for consonants. Then they'll be giving you 5 tests on rhymes, 5 tests on stress pattern, 5 tests on primary stress, and 10 questions on phonetic symbols. How many do we have now? 15 plus 15, that's 30. Remember, you have 60 questions plus 10, 40. Okay, 5, 5, 5. That's 15. That is 55. So the last one is 5 tests on emphatic stress. Oh my god,